Click on the subscribe button, especially the bell on the right side. Otherwise, you will miss the latest videos.
Namaste, Kaushik sir. Welcome to Saptarishi's Astrology.
Namaste, Yuvang Bhai. Namaste to all the viewers. And I really thank you and the entire Saptarishi's team for giving me an opportunity to interact with you.
It's our pleasure, sir. Actually, interviewing you was a very big task for me, and you have given a chance that you will come on our platform and tell
So
us about.
it's my privilege that Saptarishis thought that they will take an interview of mine.
So, we have released a quite few videos of your in our channel, and one common thing which we get was, how did Kaushik sir started his journey in astrology? From which time he started, and what was the process of his learning? See, we use when we start our journey, first we all move to Vedic, some move to KP, then there with as time passes they change their field, they go somewhere else. But I want to know what was your journey so that we can relate.
Okay, thanks for asking this, Yuvang Bhai. See, my family had a history of dealing with this subject. My uncle knew, my parents knew, and since my childhood, there were 8-10 astrologers who used to come on Sundays. They would have a darbar. You remember on those days, there were no online platform. So, from my young age, I am accustomed to hearing the word Saturn, Rahu, Ketu, all these things. So, it developed an interest. But actually, at around the age of 20, I requested my father to teach me the preliminaries of astrology. So my journey of learning astrology really started from that time. And I remember he presented me the first book, which I still have in my library. That's Everyday Astrology by Mr. V.K.A. Iyer. Very concise book, but good book. And he taught me the basics. Thereafter, I started learning on my own, primarily on the books of Dr. B.V. Raman and his magazine, Astrological Magazine. I have a big collection of the magazine, old magazine copies also with me. And gradually I started learning. And simultaneously I started collecting data and charts from whomsoever I used to meet at that point of time. I used to say, "Bhai, please give me your birth chart, let me see." And I used to practice, absolutely amateur form. People used to say at that time, "Okay, you predict reasonably well." But I knew that I am not in charge of the chart. I even can't see 20% of the destiny. I was very nervous. I am not confident at all what to say and what not to say. And I was not satisfied with the knowledge that I was gaining through self-learning. This continued for a decade or so, even like. After that, I was very lucky to get my guru. And I took a 3-year one-to-one coaching from him. And the entire learning, the learning from my father and the learning from my guru, they were all into Parashari astrology. So that's my area of interest, dealing professionally, whatever. So after taking a 3-year one-to-one coaching, I was recognized by the institute with where I used to take the class with a gold medal also. And then In 95, I started practicing. After completion of the course, my guru said, if you don't practice, you will forget. Because my family was not very willing to allow me to come to practice. It's not, at that time, it was not that reputed. And with my background of service, they were not very happy that I would take up this as a side profession. But my guru insisted that if you don't practice, you will not get charts. You will forget whatever I have taught you. So since 95, I have been to practice. In the meantime, I learned palmistry also.
Okay.
And till 2023, I have been doing Parashari only. I am still doing Parashari. And I did not learn it from any other person in this long history of 3 decades of practice. Only in 2023, when I came in touch with Sunil sir, somehow I was very impressed with his knowledge. And I found that there are many things which I didn't knew. So I joined Saptarishis as a student. The first course that I did was under Vinayak sir of the BNN. Because I wanted to explore BNN and take and find out the takeaways and inculcate it in my system. And of course, then Sunil sir's classes, and I'm still a student, Yuval. I still learn on a basis. That's what it is in a nutshell.
No, actually, it was really amazing because it is totally different from maximum of astrology student how they start. Because somewhat we go to astrologers, we meet them, we are not satisfied according to our need, what we need. Then what we think is we should start learning astrology. This is a basic which philosophy which approximately 50-60% people do,
True.
but your journey was totally different. It was out of interest. And as I calculated the book which you gave, it says 1984 your father first gave you that book. We will for sure we will attach the screenshot of that book.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the book. It has been torn up totally, but I still have it in my library. And that's the
Yeah.
blessing of my father, which he was my first guru to be say it really in real terms. But later on, my guru gave me all the knowledge that I need. And that's how it came. But yes, today, see, people have so many avenues to learn. During my time, we didn't have this facility like the course that Saptarishi is having on beginners course. Basics, beginners, concepts. The people are getting, students are getting a platform to learn. We didn't get that platform. Whatever I learned from my guru was primarily advanced predictive astrology. Basics I only learned on myself. But if I would have got a platform the like today the students have, where beginners or basics are being taught at such an in-depth level, I can definitely say that I would have been a much better astrologer than what I am today.
You think so because we all think that you are a great astrologer. And this is my personal experience, which I see.
And
So,
that is why the course, when we take class, I don't want my students to suffer. So I always say basics, 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 basics. Because
we are,
unless you know the grammar, you will not be able to construct a right sentence.
yes. So, so,
Yeah, please continue. Thanks.
so the next part, what we think is when we start astrology, although during your time, internet and online was not dominating, but in today's time, what happened is first we see a video of on YouTube that astrologer is teaching something. Then we see down to it there is a video astrology is pseudoscience. What do you think on this? Is astrology a pseudoscience, or what is astrology?
Good question. Good question, Yuvak. See, if you think about the subject of astrology, it has two components. One is half of it, I will say, is astronomy. And astronomy, is a pure science based on mathematics and the motion of the heavenly bodies in the sky. You can compute a milliton second of a tide or the
Yeah.
sunset or the sunrise today. So it's pure science. So 50% of it is astronomy, and that's a science. Now the other 50% is the applied astronomy or the predictive side of astrology. Now, here also I will say this is a deep-rooted philosophical science. I have to understand it very carefully. The base of astrology lies in philosophy of human behavior, principles of evolution of time, law of continuity, and law of karma. So the base is like that. Like in a computer, your base is the operating system.
Mm.
So this is the operating system.
Mm.
Now you put on the softwares, which you see. But unless you have a good operating system, you will not be able to run the softwares. So the operating system of astrology is philosophy. When you come to the predictive side, see, I call it a science because I find it has all the qualities of science. I will give you 4 examples. In science, we can define it as a knowledge of facts, laws and proximate causes, gained and verified by exact observation, which helped in formulating results in a systematic way. That's science.
Yeah.
Here in science, the universe is actually what the term implies is unity. A law in science which is manifesting in one portion of the universe is valid in every portion of the universe.
So true.
Similarly, in astrology, the laws are common.
Mm.
It is valid in the entire earth, wherever you are. No difference.
100%.
And unless the conditions change, the laws will be consistent. What does science says? Science says if you jump from the 10th floor of a house, 100 times you jump, 100 times you will die.
100 times. Yeah.
Our laws says if a particular combination is there, 100 times the same result will happen. No deviation. When the deviation will cause, if you change one of the conditions, like if you change the 10th floor to first floor, then you may not die.
Yes.
Or if you change the place from Earth to Moon, where there is very low gravity, then you will not die.
Yes.
So unless the conditions are changed, the outcome is constant. That is
Yeah.
science. That is science.
Yes.
So in astrology also, and the conditions of predictions are constant, consistent everywhere, unless the conditions of the chart change. That is one similarity why I find with science. The second similarity is, see, study of the motion of the planets, the operation of these laws are observed, measured, and determined for further application of human life. It is in consonance to the astronomy that I say. the motion of the planets, the movement of the planets, everything is scientific. And on basis of that, our predictions are to be made. So when there is a change in the universe, there is a change in the atom of your body also. Because an atom of your body also represents the same thing which the universe has. So the change is going to take place over there also. And in consonance with the change of the universe. No one can avoid it. Third point which I want to tell you is science is a dynamic subject. It's not static. It's always changing. Theories of science is always changing.
Yes.
In earlier days, I'm giving you an example. If a person would have got a burnt, people used to say, oh, put water.
Yeah.
Nowadays, science says never put water. Just wrap with a cloth and extinguish the fire.
Yes.
Theories of science always change. It's not static. Similarly, the rules of prediction of astrology, along with time, place, and circumstances, also changes. It's not static, it's dynamic. What was valid 3,000 years ago is not valid today. You have to have a fundamental rethinking of the principles and fine-tune it to suit today's modern context. So it is also dynamic. So it's another similarity which I call it as a science. And now the last one. Every science has its limitations.
True.
Science cannot answer everything.
Everything.
Cancer could not be answered till date. Maybe tomorrow it will be. Similarly, in astrology, we also have our limitations. We cannot answer everything.
Everything.
So now you see, astrology has all the characteristics of it being a philosophical science. The 50% and the balance 50% is astronomy, which is a pure science. Now, terming this subject as a pseudoscience, I think it's not very correct, and we are not doing justice in doing that. I think I have been able to clear and answer your question, Yuvang Bhai.
Yes, sir. So on a broader level, you explained the similarities with the science, and the most important part, which I call it as that Deshkalpatra concept, which you explained, was absolutely amazing. And I think our viewers will get answer why astrology is not a pseudoscience. Obviously, every student of astrology who has been practicing, they know it is not a pseudoscience. There is specific way of calculation. What we interpret is there. It can be different person to person. No, absolutely it was.
That's true. You see, students of astrology know it's not a pseudoscience, but general people may not believe it in that way. So it is most important that we communicate the message to the general community, not to particularly to the students of astrology.
Yes.
This video, I think, will help everybody who even doesn't know what an astrology is to understand what astrology really is. Is it a science, arts, commerce, or what?
Yeah.
And that stigma of pseudoscience is to what extent this is applicable.
Sir, now our viewers and me, I myself is clear that astrology is not a pseudoscience because the facts and the linkage which you show with this astrology and how you integrated the Deshkalpatra is absolutely amazing. Now, the question which comes in our mind next is, So nowadays we see a lot of ads at app. You get come to me, your boyfriend will call, your girlfriend will call. Yeah, chal raha hai. Next is we see many apps which show us this period is good, this period is bad, according to our Dasha and Pratyasha Pratyanta. AI based, many of them have formatted rules and they have put it in AI checks and all. Okay. But why do we need to consider a physical astrologer who has knowledge rather than going on this mobile apps and all? Or is it vice versa? We should go for mobile apps, not for a physical astrology. What is your thought?
आपने क्वेश्चंस भी बहुत दिमाग से फॉर्म किया है युवक भाई. I must say. I must appreciate that. Yeah. The tough question मत किया करो. चल इसको मैं बोलता हूँ. अच्छा हमको एक चीज बताइए आप पहले. You just answer me one question.
Yeah,
Can you find a exact copy of your horoscope?
next impossible.
है नहीं.
Impossible है. Next impossible कहिए, impossible it is.
नहीं है ना.
नहीं.
इसका मतलब यह है, it clearly means every individual is unique and there is no duplicate of him on the earth.
Yes.
If you find a replica of your chart, that means I will find another Yuvak Singh.
Yes.
It will not happen. So when an individual is unique, the horoscope is also unique. It has no duplication. Even when you interpret twin births, see the future of the twins are not the same. Do the birth time are more or less same, maybe a few seconds here and there or a minute here and there. Even then, future drastically differs. So this personalization, individualization of the chart, this uniqueness of the chart, that is what we have to read from astrology. Now, you are talking about softwares and AI based. They will give you feedback basis on what program you have given to them, what logic you have given to them. They can't take the intuitive part into account, nor you can give them all the permutation and combinations. That means whatever people are existing in the world, the number of people, everybody's feedback you have to give to AI in order to get a proper report. That's not possible. So what is being done is a generalized logic is being given, is fed to the software or to the AI, and the report that you get is a very generalized report. But that report, generalized report, has to be fine-tuned according to the client because it's individual. It's that individualistic approach the softwares cannot take or cannot deliver. So that only a good astrologer, experienced astrologer can do. Can a software really produce a diagnosis of a doctor?
Next impossible.
You cannot computerize astrology and medicine or put AI into that. Up to a level is okay.
Yes.
Beyond a level, it is not possible. You with the same disease, visit 3 doctors, they will have 3 different diagnoses.
Yeah.
One will be correct, 2 will be wrong. All of them has passed out the same year from the same college. Then why the difference? So similarly in astrology, you cannot have a AI-driven, software-driven, you cannot rely because that is not fine-tuned to suit your individual needs. So I regret If that would have been the case, our life would have been a little bit easy.
Easy.
It's not the case.
So we can think like that, that calculation part, that apps and application, the website which gives, we can take. Our
Yes,
life, this life of calculating and making the horoscope by our hand, it is easy. But being totally dependent on it, it is not possible, because our intuitions also plays role.
astronomy, very correct.
Mm,
Astronomy is very correct.
yes, but astrology we cannot really.
Predictive side, it's
Mm,
a generalistic, like the predictions you see in the magazines and the newspapers, daily prediction, all these are very generalistic.
mm,
Suppose a prediction in this week has come out for a Taurus ascendant or a Taurus moon sign.
mm.
There are how many people with Taurus one in this world today? Imagine. Will that be applicable to all? It cannot happen. So the predictive part of astrology cannot be computerized because that is intuitive. And let me admit one thing very candidly, Yuvank, today. Yes, we have rules of prediction, but beyond a point, astrology is not totally dependent on what you read. Everything is not written, Yuvan Bhai.
Yes,
So that you cannot put into logic or into AI.
ah,
You need,
that requires a human touch.
yes. And you need the divine blessings also. 10 charts will come to you. Will you perform the same way in the 10 charts? No, your performance also will vary. Because the divine blessing for those 10 people are different. For one, the divine blessing is okay, you go ahead and give him all the appropriate remedies. So he will
Yeah,
get it from you.
yeah.
But for another client, may not be that much amount of divine blessing is existing. So what will you do? Your performance will be a little short of what is
Yes.
desired. So all these things, I don't know whether I make sense in saying, but these you
No,
cannot put into logic and fed in a computer.
yeah, so true. It is, we cannot do these things. That requires a human touch, obviously. So when we talk about human touch, we, as you know, you also told me that you started learning from Sunil a little bit, or since 2023. Now the question is pending. The most important question which we see everybody is doing, pending karma nowadays, although it was coined by my teacher only. So, um, pending karma. What do we really have a pending karma, or how we can think of it? What is pending karma? What is a broader idea? Can you explain a little bit about pending karma? Because every second astrologer talks about pending karma. So
Okay.
I want to know a little bit about it from you.
Yuvak, this is a huge topic and a very hot favorite subject because you are very correct. Whenever you open astrology, karma, pending karma, karmic consequences, karma correction, all these words will come. And no, see, if I explain you in a very simple way, what the planets represent. The planets become the symbols of representation of human vibration of deeds are cut. Simple. Planets are only representatives. That's why in classic you will see that Parasharji has said that planets are none but parts of Vishnu. With the help of the 9 planets, he administered the solar system, the Earth. So they are representatives. There is no good, bad, or ugly planets. Every planet has some specific role assigned. They collect the vibrations that are created by you in the past and in the present and represent them in the right time. Simple. Planets do not influence the human on the earth independently. They don't have independent results. But they indicate accumulated and active vibrations that are influencing the present life. That is indicated. Therefore, everything that you are experiencing today is a result of your own vibrations created either in the past or in the present. This is what I understand as law of karma in short, without going into the philosophical side of it, Debunking.
Yeah.
I have kept this definition in context to astrology.
Mm.
Law of karma is a subject where the spiritual leaders have delivered. Vivekananda has delivered a lot. You will find in his books, Karma Yoga, Raj Yoga, everything. He has taken it to a different level. Many spiritual leaders have taken it to a different level. But in astrology, we really don't need to go to that level. We need to see the linkage of the planets with the law of karma. So karmic astrology, what you are talking about, is nothing but what the results you are going to get in this life as a consequence of your present and past deeds. Simple. That's what we read.
Yeah, pending.
That's what we read. That's what is called as prediction.
Mm.
So everything what we predict is as per the law of karma. So it will help you, the predictions, to unlock your past life and the effect of it in the present life.
Mm.
It will help you to pinpoint your body, mind, and soul's ingredient pattern that you have carried over from the past lives, which needs urgent attention. This is what is most important in astrology.
Oh,
Future,
see,
let me go. Future telling, not important. I will explain it later. But you see, in today's world, we are more concerned with materialistic issues. Correct? We
yes.
face challenges on a day-to-day basis for arranging food, clothing, life partner, education, everything.
Mm.
And these needs, materialistic needs, primarily drive a client to come to an astrologer.
So true.
Now, it is our duty to first solve it and give him relief. Because when a person is hungry, nothing else would satisfy him except food.
100%.
A person is hungry, you tell him spiritual things, how to improve his life, overall karma, these things, I think it will not help. So give him food first.
Mm.
Let the hunger subside. And then gradually, during the process, as a good astrologer, you give him tips to improve his deeds overall based on the karmic astrology. But if you want to give it without attending to his immediate needs, that will
It
not
is.
happen. So you have to be very careful. An astrologer has, yes, it's the overall objective of astrology is to improve the quality of your life. And for that, you have to give him tips. But he can only receive your tips when he has peace of mind, reasonable peace of mind. If he has a burning problem, his attention is only lying over there. So you have an astrologer has a twofold responsibility. Solve the burning problem and give him relief. That is one on one hand. At the same time, give him tips based on his chart, based on karmic astrology, so that he improves as an individual as a whole. Have I been able to answer your question, Yuang Bhai?
Yeah, yes, sir, completely. I do agree to that. It is our duty to make the life of an person or a client who is coming to us, make it easier. Be it in any form, we have to do it. And as astrologer, it is our.
Very true.
The one topic you touched in between was, is astrology only the future telling thing, which you refrain yourself from answering. But I would like to know that, is really astrology only the way of telling future? This time is okay, this time is not okay. Or, but so far you answered it, we have to answer the burning question. But do you think it is only and only the science of predicting future?
I have understood your question from where it has come. See, Yuang Bhai, predicting the future only should be the last spare of astrology, consequence of an astrology. It serves no material purpose to a client except quenching the thirst, knowing about the unknown partially. Now, I will give you an example. Suppose today you have come to me and I tell you that you will become a millionaire after 50 years. That's a prediction, future telling.
Yes, yes.
This is a prediction of the future. You can feel happy about it mentally, but no direct advantage accrues out of the said prediction to you now.
Yes.
Your income is not going to increase today, but you will have to shell out my fees right now.
100% true.
You return home empty handed with a prediction of becoming a millionaire, which nobody knows whether it will mature after 15 years or not.
Yes.
What do you gain in the process, Yuvang Bhai? Practically nothing now. So what? Then why should people come to an astrologer? People come to an astrologer because future telling is not your job in that way. Astrology, with the help of the subject, you can spell out the tendency of the planets and the influence they can exert, whether in a good or bad way. So by knowing the trends of the future, you can avoid many pitfalls if you strategize your life accordingly. So it is important the astrologer tells you, makes a SWOT analysis, tells your strength, weakness, threat, and opportunity areas. Based on the same, he designs the do's and the don'ts for you. You implement it straight away from today. You start getting results, tangible results, fruitful results. That's what it is. It justifies the fees that you are paying to. Am I clear?
Yes, sir, 100%, absolutely. And this gave us a better, much more clear perspective of our previous question, which was on pending karma. Do's and don'ts is our pending karma. This thing we have to do, this thing we do not do.
But you have to sugarcoat it and Convince the client that if he does it, he will get advantage of it from day one, not waiting for 50 years.
Uh, so that
Do it, he will
is
start getting benefits.
yeah, 100%. 100%. Next, what I personally liked your HR way where it came, that is strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. It clearly shows an HR who's an astrologer can only say this.
But you see, you have to help the clients. No? That's with the tool of this subject, you have to help the clients. So how just saying the future that will happen, this will happen, it doesn't help the client at all. How do you help him? That's your astrologer's primary motive.
It should be primary motive because nowadays another thing is a primary motive. Our viewers should understand that helping person should be the primary motive. Moving ahead of this question, students of astrology are much more confused. Although we released your 3 subsequent videos from our class of functional malefic, functional benefic. Now, can you give us a brief idea? Although I will be attaching those 3 videos in our description box and they will get it in the I section also. I want to know what is the difference between functional malefic, functional benefic. What is different between, functional malefic and natural malefic? Functional benefic and natural benefic. What is the difference? How we can interpret this?
That's very true. You have correctly said. I remember I took 4 to 5 classes to explain this concept in the beginner's course.
Actually, it was 10-hour lecture in
Yes,
total.
it's a very broad subject and it's the base of astrology. If Parashari astrology, if you don't know this, you will never be able to pinpoint prediction. Whatever technique you learn there, you are why wo sab bekar.
Yes.
It will not yield any result. See, I will give you very short answer to this. The English term is very confusing. Yeah, natural benefic, functional benefic, natural malefic, functional malefic. If you read the classics in Sanskrit have assigned very appropriate words to this. And if you remember these words, you will understand the difference in a minute. There are only 4 words. You have used 4 things: natural malefic and functional malefic, natural benefic and functional benefic. This is what you have used.
Yes, sir.
So I will give you 4 words. Natural benefics. For that, the classics have used the word Somya.
Sure.
Somya means जिसके अंदर who contains the quality of peace, happiness, easiness, and softness in an inherent way. And classics have said Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, and Moon are natural benefits. So substitute natural benefits, this phrase with Soumya. You will understand whatever result these planets will give, they will give it in their inherent quality of peace, happiness, easiness, and softness. Period. ज्यादा इसमें दिमाग लगाने का ना और नहीं है. Natural benefics हो गया. Now, natural malefics. Natural malefics have been termed in Sanskrit as Krura Grahas. Now, Krura means they have in themselves the quality of harshness, difficulty, destructiveness, and unpleasantness in an inherent way. Whatever results they will give, that will come with the clothing of this quality. And classics have termed Sun, Mars, Saturn, Rahu, Ketu as natural benefics. Simple. Swami and Kruda. You keep these two words in mind, you will never get confused. Now I come to functional benefits. Functional benefits have been termed by the classics as Shubha planet.
Shubha.
Remember the word Shubha? Shubha means auspicious, clear cut. So, what is Shubha means? A planet who is capable of creating good events in your life. Simple. Or in one other word, he is a destiny builder for you. He is responsible to build your destiny. He is a Shubha for you. He is auspicious for you. It can be any planet, depending on the ascendant. So, that is what functional benefic is. Now I will go to the last, that is the functional malefics. Natural malefics, Parasharji has termed them Kruda. But functional malefics, he has used a different word, Pap. See, the depth of the meaning completely changes. Pap or evil. This means the planets will carry with them the property of jeopardizing the normal progress of life. Or they will act as destiny breakers. There is one group of planet who will try to build your destiny. There is another group of planet who will try to disturb the destiny. And a human life is constantly a interaction of these two. When the group 1 is strong, you get good results. When the group 2 is strong, you get bad results. In your natal chart, if the first group is strong, then you have destiny. If the second group is strong, then you don't have that destiny for that particular matter. So 4 words. You remember these 4 words, Soumya, Kruda, and Shubha and Pap. You understand the role of the planet. Now, for each ascendant, this role of functional benefic and malefic means Shubha and Pap changes from planet to planet. That needs to be understood. And that is why it took me 4 classes to clear the concept ascendant-wise. So obviously we cannot go into depth into that, but if you put those links to the videos, students who are interested to dipstick more should watch them carefully. But primarily, हाथ में 4 शब्द को याद रखो. You remember 4 words and you will never get confused with functional malefic, natural malefic. These English meanings are little confusion.
Yeah.
Little bit confusion. Our Sanskrit meanings are much more clear and convenient to understand.
The concept of functional malefic and functional benefic, natural malefic and natural benefic is very much clear. I hope my viewers will also understand this clearly, although they can still visit the description and they can get a understanding, in-depth understanding of what are this. Now, one quick question which comes in my mind is, suppose a planet is natural benefic, and for certain ascendant, it becomes functional malefic. What will be the result of that planet? Also, if a planet is natural malefic in a chart and it becomes functional benefic, so both ways, what type of result we can interpret from that?
Okay. to answer your first question, your question is if a Saumya planet becomes a Pap. Clear?
Yes, sir.
देखो, planets primarily तो उसका functional nature ही देता है. So whosoever will become a Pap in your chart or in anybody's chart will try to disturb the destiny. Now it will depend on its strength, its position, everything will have to take into consideration whether to what extent he will be capable enough to do that. He may want, but he may fail because of loss of strength, or he may succeed in a great way because he has good strength. That's a different issue. But when Shubha planets become Pap, then destiny will be jeopardized. But that will be also coming with the clothing of softness, easiness, means a polite way, decent way. उतना हार्शनेस नहीं रहेगा, थोड़ा सा रिलीफ आप एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते. फॉर एग्जाम्पल जुपिटर, अगर जुपिटर किसी का डेस्टिनी ब्रेक भी करेगा तो थोड़ा जेंटलमैन वे से करेगा. दिस इज व्हाट द लीस्ट दैट वी कैन एक्सपेक्ट फ्रॉम जुपिटर. नाउ your reverse, the other question, the reverse way. When a Krura planet becomes Shubha, that is what you asked. A natural malefic becoming a functional benefic.
Benefit.
Again, results primarily तो शुभ का ही होगा. बट वो शुभ रिजल्ट भी वो क्रूरता के साथ आए. It will be mixed with the clothing of harshness, difficulties, unpleasantness. That element will be there. Like if Saturn becomes your Shubha planet, he will deliver. He will build your destiny. No doubt about that. There is no misconception that Saturn doesn't give results, or Mars doesn't give results, or Rahu doesn't give results. Results will come. They will build your destiny. But what Saturn will do? Saturn will delay. उसका जो क्रूरता है, या he will deliver it with a little bit amount of frustration or melancholiness. ये Saturn का natural qualities क्रूरता है.
Yes.
So the results, the destiny will be definitely builded by Saturn, but it will come with the clothing of its natural qualities. That you can't avoid. Have I been able to answer your query?
Yeah, for sure. It was 110% clear.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
It is amazing. See, many of astrologers would not know this concept. It would be a new concept for them. That destiny builder, destiny breaker is my personal favorite. Now, sir, we all have a fear from planet who are malefic, natural malefic. Here comes a planet which is known as Mars. 99% of us are in fear of that planet. Some says Manglik Dosh, Mangal Dosha. In English, Mangal Dosha we say. Now, really does this Mangal Dosha comes in play or role? Because what people advocate, many of them I have seen, what astrologers advocate and what olden period of time we used to listen is that if a person is a Manglik and not married to a Manglik person, life will be hell. Some says death also of after marriage. These are common thing which we see in the astrological fraternity. What do you think? Do this Mangal dose exist? What type of consequences we can predict from this, and what kind of consequences which we can see in the married life of a person? Because telling death is not a planet obviously not matching horoscope. These things, many of them do not even match the horoscope, then their life is going well. When they come to know that they meet an astrologer, there is a mangling dose, they are tensed, they do lot of puja part and upay. What do you think, though this mangling dose really exists?
Well, Yuang Bhai, you have given a lot of thought in asking me such debatable questions. Answer that I will give is purely my opinion and experience. You are asking about my opinion.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
In one line, I will say
Mm.
there is no Manglik. Now I know it will create a lot of controversy. Now I will explain it why I'm saying. It will take me 5 minutes. You have to understand Mars. You said we are all afraid of Mars. Now, Mangal Dosh happens as per classics when Mars is placed in first house, second house, fourth house, seventh house, eighth house, and 12th. Correct?
Yes.
Now, if you look at Mars, Mars is a planet of aggression. Mars is a planet of ego. Mars is a planet of analysis. Mars is a planet of question. In all the positions where Mangal Dosh happens as per the classics, you take the position of Mars and its aspect, you will find Mars is either influencing the mind or the marriage. Up to this, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, classics have been written 2000, 3000 years ago.
So
You
true.
take you back to that time. That is why in one earlier question I told you that Sthan Kal Patra is so important.
Mm.
When you look back at that time, you will find what is the role of a woman in the society at that point of time. You see, Mangal Dosh is primarily looked for a woman. Though classic says it should be looked for a man also, but men do not give patta to this, that. And neither astrologers do very serious analysis of Mars Mangal Dosh in a man's chart. But when it comes to a female chart, I have seen astrologers go mad. No, 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 no. She is Manglik. You can't marry him.
Yes.
So, though it is equally applicable, but we have attached more importance to it for a female candidate. Now, you go back to that time. In that time, in the society, what was the role of a female? The role of a female was primarily restricted to two areas in life. One, the kitchen. The second is to manage the bed of the husband in the night.
Mm.
The woman was not expected to ask questions. It was a heavily men-dominated society, particularly in India. Now, if somebody marries a woman with Mars in these places, Mars will influence her mind and she will be analytical, rational, asking questions, will not accept dictums as it is as passed on by her husband and the in-laws. During that time, such a woman in the family was not preferred. They needed submissive woman.
Mm.
So, astrology was mainly done by the Pandits at that point of time. The
Mm.
Pandits were very clever. They understood that if they want to explain so much of rational to common people, they will not understand. So they used their brain and formulated a dictum that if Mars is there in first house, second house, fourth house, seventh, eighth, and 12th in a female chart, don't marry that lady, your husband will die. Create that fear. Correct?
Yes.
Now you come back to today's society. Today's society, a woman is required to do equal job as a man, to the even to the extent of running a country, becoming a prime minister. You really think without the help of Mars a woman can succeed?
No.
Without aggression, ego, rationality, analytical power, a woman can succeed, or any individual can succeed.
Cancer. Impossible.
Not possible. So, with change in time, that concept of submissive woman not to be brought in the family really does not exist now. So, Mangal Dosh in today's concept is not applicable. Why blame Mars only? If Rahu or Saturn would be in your 7th or 8th house, you think your married life will be very smooth. There will be difference in the way of delivery, but outcome will be the same. One more thing, jeopardy in marriage, in whatever way, be it separation by divorce or death of a husband or anything, only one house cannot deliver any result. Marriage has to be seen holistically. 3 houses become very important in marriage: 7th, 4th, and 12th. Only in natural malefic like Mars or Saturn in 7th house may not disturb your marriage to that extent that it will cause a separation, either by way of death or by way of divorce or something like that. No. I have many charts to show you that extremely volatile Saturn, Mars, or Rahu, or Ketu in 7th, or in ascendant, or in 8th, even then the marriage is going well for 45 years, 40 years. How is that possible? How will you explain them? Mangal Dosh. So in today's astrology, you cannot take any dictum as a thumb rule per se. Astrology is basically a result of permutation and combination of planets. Yes, if the concerned houses of marriage are enemy houses of Mars, and Mars is placed there, there will be difficulty. But why Mars? If it is an enemy planet of Saturn, then also there will be difficulty. If it is an enemy house of Rahu or Ketu, then also there will be difficulty. But to what extent the difficulty will lead to will depend upon the other houses and other permutation combinations. Unless you judge the chart in totality, you cannot come to a conclusion that the marriage will lead to a separation or a disaster. It generally don't happen. So I'm very sorry to say you, Bhagwai. I have seen many Pandits cancelling many good
Hmm.
marriage proposals just on this ground, which I find is absolutely baseless and ridiculous. I never,
Very sad.
and I know a few astrologers that study the chart in totality before coming to a conclusion. And the second concept that if you have Manglik, then you marry another Manglik, that's all the more ridiculous. Your chart shows a problem and you are marrying somebody who has a problem and you say it will get neutralized.
Not possible.
It will explore.
Hmm. Two
Even,
bombs colliding.
even if for argument's sake, if I want to say
Uh,
that someone is Mangalik, then he should or she should marry a person whose marriage life potential is very good. Only this, then it can be mitigated to some extent. I don't find any logic in these dictums. Either we have completely misunderstood or we have miserably failed to fine tune it and redefine the rules which existed 3000 years before and make it compatible to suit today's context and needs. If ever you give me another opportunity, I can show you many charts, both of celebrities and non-celebrities, where this Mangal Dosha, despite having severe Mangal Dosha as per classics, nothing has happened.
so we implement our mind and sense while dealing with the classic. That is your take on it, that when we take a reading of classic or take a dictum from classic, we should put our brain that the book was written thousand years ago. Now we need to improvise it a little bit, put it in today's context, making the originality be same. So yeah, this
All rules you work by has to be studied, understood, and interpreted in today's context because we are interpreting a chart of today.
today's, yeah.
I'm going to give you one more example. In Parashari, we will find when he has talked about determination of sex of the child,
Mm.
he wrote it 3000 years before. And he, at one chapter, gives a small hint that for determining sex of the child, you should consider the father's chart. Astrological fraternity till 1930 was mad as to why Parasharji said this. Why only father's chart for determining the sex of the child? Why not the mother's chart will be considered? And this answer came to us in 1930 when the law of heredity was discovered. The chromosome theory XXYY.
Yeah.
Then scientists proved that it's the father's chromosome only which determines the sex and not the mother's.
Mm.
So you see,
Yeah.
we have all the material 3000 years ago. But many of that we didn't understand. Many of that have changed. We didn't change the rules. The broad rule is the same.
Mm.
Natural malefics in concerned houses affecting family or marriage will create disturbance. That's the rule. Because of their qualities of harshness, difficulties, and everything. But do you think in a chart, if Mars is a functional benefic, is a Shubha planet, or where Mars is a Pap, in these two charts, if Mars is placed in the seventh house, well, it will yield the same results. It cannot happen. So all these factors have to be looked into before declaring such a event on the basis of a snapshot technique.
I was stunned when you interlinked, and the people can see my face reaction when you interlink this Mendel law of inheritance with the Parasharji shloka of
Yeah, you will
Hitler.
understand better. You are a student of medical science. You will understand. 1930 Mendel came with this chromosome theory. Only then we
Yeah.
understood that it is the father. You see, in so many families, even in India today, the women are tortured because they cannot deliver a male child. But is it really the woman's fault? It is lack of education that makes us think so. It's the husband who is at fault, not the woman.
Ideally, husband should be tortured.
But
Anyways,
again, being a male
India.
dominated society, it will not happen. All the blames will be given to the lady. Similarly,
Yeah.
in astrology, Mangal Dosha only is applicable for the lady.
No, people are. This question was so important because my sister was about to get married. So we match the horoscope, and there do exist a Mangal Dosh according to class. So we met an astrologer, although I have been learning, but when it comes to our family members chart and our chart, we are blank. So we went to them, and he
आज के साथ शादी करवा दो ये वो all these are nothing but see many astrologers use these concepts to extract money from the client by way of either remedy, mantra, yoga, tantra, this thing, that thing. I'm very sorry to say, but we are not doing our job properly.
so the insight on Mangal Dosh was very much crystal clear, and Mendel's law also give a concrete idea how we can interrelate, which perfectly satisfy that first question or second question: is astrology a pseudoscience? That perfectly satisfied. Now, when we have discussed about Mangal, those next thing which come in my mind is, do we astrology first, when we cover the basics in BPHS also, the next thing is Bal Arishti Yoga, longevity and all these things. So what is dharma of an astrologer, that either he should predict the life span of a person or not? Because when astrologers say that Manglik person married to a unmanglik person, if death is occurring, then that cannot be a sole reason. The longevity frame should come in between. Na? Ki, their thing. Although you are denying it, 100% agree to it after your logic. बट वो संयोग भी तो हो सकता है, संयोग भी तो हो सकता है कि that longevity span was about to end, that thing happened. So what do you think? Do we need to predict longevity, or what is your thought?
Well, why heavyweight questions you are asking me? Nice that you have considered these topics. See, my first question to you is an astrologer capable of deciding longevity? Are we capable? In my mind, determining longevity is the most difficult task in astrology. Even Rishi Parashar has also given 7, 8 methods of calculation of longevity. He himself is not very sure. Astrology is a science of tendencies. We can sniff, yes, in this period there can be a big health hazard. But no astrologer should think he can become a god. Only God can say it with certainty what will happen. We can say this may happen. And in question of longevity, it is all better that we don't say. We say, if I find you are having a longevity maybe up to 70, 75 years, then I will further expand it and see in which time, which dasha, which antar dasha, this week this may happen. I can say there will be a big health hazard. Be careful. Take all medical precautions. But whether he will die at that point of time or not, at least I will not be able to say. So I should not go into the area which is the area of the god, is not my area to operate. Now, this brings me to another issue. Suppose, this is a very important thing all astrologers should keep in mind. Suppose a client comes to me and I analyze the chart and I see that he may have to face death of his child after 3 years. ऐसा जोक बनता है. Now you see, suppose I spell it to him. What will be the consequences? If the event really happens, destiny has destined to give him the pain of losing the child after 3 years. By predicting, I will give him the start, give him getting, I mean, he will start getting the pain right from that moment I predict. That is not his destiny. I will be doing a paap in that case. We are not authorized to bring forward the pain and inject it in the client before that is scheduled to him.
We should not go for predicting of longevity.
So you have to be very careful while predicting negative events. At the same time, you can't be oblivious and ignore that also. You have to prepare your client mentally or give him some protection, some hint or something so that when the really tough time comes, he can bear the pain. It's a very difficult job. Very, very difficult job of astrologer. Really, he has it on hands. On one hand, he is a predictor. On the other hand, he is a counselor. Keeping in mind the holistic benefit of the client. So, whenever I am in profession, many a times I face this conflict. But speaking out blatant truth, such negative truths, it can give me a boost that, oh, see, I am such a big astrologer, I have predicted, but rubbish. You were in that class when one of my students said that he tried one technique of mine when his father was in the hospital,
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
and the technique was perfectly
Working. Yes, I remember. I
working,
do remember.
and the consequences was very negative that his father expired. And I'm very sorry. I was really very sorry. I don't want my techniques to be tested in this fashion.
Hmm.
So, similarly, a job of an astrologer is a holy job, is a divine job. When a client comes to me, I consider that he's being sent by God to me to give, because God has designed to give him some relief. And instead of relief, I am injecting pain in him. What will happen? God will give me a big slap. I will be inviting so much of negative karma. I will not be able to handle that. So, my caution to the astrological fraternities, be very, very careful.
Ideally, we should not go into that realm.
There is no,
If
even without going, you can counsel the client properly.
yes, we can give emotional stability to them. All those things we can do.
You,
When this question
whatever destiny will happen, will happen.
will happen, we cannot change it.
We cannot tell really more than 50-60% of what we see in the chart, Yuang Mai. Let me tell you, let me make a very candid confession to you today. If you are a good astrologer, you will not be able to predict 100%. You have to filter it out.
Yes.
The client will not be able to take it.
Hmm. 100% right. People do not take if they go to an astrologer and astrologer predict something difficult. Also, when we were on talk, you shared one experience of a businessman.
Hmm.
He ignored that. So if people are not taking guidance that way, and so we cannot do this type of thing. When this comes, this give us a emotional disbalance in our life, which makes person feel sorrow, sad before that event happen. Although after that, they will face those consequences with that effect.
Absolutely.
Now, when this question of emotion comes, here comes the planet Moon. And since Saturn is transiting in Pisces, so for some ascendant, it will bring a Sade 7.5 year period. It, when people say that it is a tough period, so Saturn, though we see Sade Sati is from Moon. So this is also a type of transit. Transit is only happening and it is giving the effect 2.5 year back and forward and in 2.5 when it is. So, what is your view on this? Should we consider every transit from moon because Sade Sati is also being considered from? Should the transit be considered from moon or we can consider it from other lagnas?
Okay. Good question, Yuang Bhai.
Hmm.
You have a point when you say Sade Sati is a transit and it is seen from moon. So transit should be seen from moon. You have a point. But I want to go a little deep into it. See, in Vedic astrology, moon has been given the maximum importance. Why? It is because whatever be your combination of planets on the day of your birth, God finally decides what will be your fate in this life by putting moon at a particular degree in a particular house and giving you the birth. Means your dashas start in that fashion, which will decide your the karma for this life. So you can understand, moon is the most important karmic planet. Nakshatras, dashas start from moon. So, and on the other hand, we have Saturn. Broadly speaking, out of all the planets, Jupiter is responsible for give you the benefits of your good karmas. And Saturn is responsible to give you the benefit of your bad karma. Benefit means sufferings here. Bad karmas will generate sufferings. Both of them are equally important because what is the objective of a human birth? Is to make the karmic balance zero. Now, when such a karmic planet Saturn comes into the vicinity of moon, here you have to apply the Kemadruma Yoga concept. The immediate past, present, and the immediate future. These are the three houses which we take into consideration for the Kemadruma Yoga.
Yes.
So when such a karmic planet Saturn comes into the 12th house, the first house, and the second house of moon, that is the time when maximum shedding of your negative karma will happen. And obviously it will happen through pain and suffering. And which is the area where you will feel pain? Human being feel pain maximum in the mind. You can bear a lot of bodily pain if your mind is okay. So the interaction of Saturn with moon in these three houses become extremely important period for you to shed majority of your negative karmas during these 7.5 years. In general, barring some exceptions. And that is why this 7.5 period is important. It's not because we are looking at transit from moon. It's because there is an interaction of the two highest karmic planets of the chart. Similarly, if you see Jupiter's transit on moon, it will give you good results. Because Jupiter is destined to give you benefits of the good karmas. But good results we don't generally remember. We remember more the bad ones.
Bad ones.
And Saturn is doing a great favor to you by helping you to shed away your negative karmic balance. But the process through which he does is not
So good.
so good. It's a little painful to us. And that is why Sade Sati period is important. It will be a wrong notion to conclude that transits have to be seen from moon. Sade Sati is an exceptional phenomenon and it has to be understood in the context as I have explained to you right now.
So transit we take it from ascendant or whichever lagna.
Transit we mainly take from, we take it
Ah,
ascendant. That's where you will get the maximum of the impact of transit. All transit have to be studied from ascendant in order to understand the impact of transit.
now here transit you have explained, but which is more decisive tool? Dasha, you also touched a little bit on Dasha, and then on transit we had that discussion now. But which one is more accurate? Which one is more decisive? Which one delivers the result more predominantly? What do you think on this?
I will say they are complement to each other. You, in order to come to a comprehensive prediction, you will need dashas and transit both. Now I'm going to explain. Suppose you are ordering a book in Amazon.
Hmm.
Your ordering is your own chart. If the promise is not there, it will not come. If you don't order, the book will not come. The dashas are the publishing company who is going to give you the book, to whom you are ordering. If he doesn't receive the order and doesn't dispatch, you will not get. But the book will not be in your hands till the courier boy comes and rings your doorbell. That is transit. Now you see it in a reverse way. I'm doing a reverse engineering. Whenever a courier boy comes, you know that the book has come.
Hmm.
And I know the book cannot come unless the publishing company has released and you have placed an order.
Yes.
So by considering transit, you can predict an event.
Hmm.
Because dashas will fall in place. Has to. Unless the publishing company releases the book, how can the courier boy come and ring your
Come.
bell?
Yes.
So by transit timing of event, it can be individually and independently done. But if you want to know the details of the book, whether you have got the right book, whether you have got who is the author, what is the size of the book, what is the price of the book, everything, all details, then you have to open the wrapper and see the book by itself.
Hmm.
That's the dasha.
Yes.
Without the dasha, without opening the wrapper, seeing the book, you will not be able to judge that. So, in predictive astrology, transit can by itself indicate that you can time an event. But the quality of event, for that, you have to go in, dig into the dashas. If the dashas are favorable, transit will also be favorable. And the reverse. If the transit is favorable, you get an event, you will go back and see the dashas will fall in place and you will have that promise in your natal chart. In
Yes.
both the ways, either you go from Kolkata to Delhi or from Delhi to Calcutta. It's the Rajdhani Express, the same train.
Same thing.
While
Yes.
going to Delhi, it is called Kolkata Rajdhani, and from Delhi to Calcutta, it is called the Delhi Rajdhani. That's the difference. Have I been
Amazing.
able to clear this concept to you?
Yes, yes, amazing, amazing. I think this courier boy was amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's not my words. It's they're mentioned by some author. I don't remember the name. That transit is the courier boy. It is a courier boy. We do timing of events to transit only independently. But at the back of the mind, we all know that the dashas will fall into place. Now, in regard to Sade Sati, I will give you a personal example of me. I was born in Sade Sati. I had my first Sade Sati when I was born. So first Sade Sati, I didn't understand anything. Second Sade Sati. Second Sade Sati period was the most beautiful period in my life. I got a promotion. In 3 months' time, I changed job and joined a new organization with another upliftment of designation. I was married, and at the end of the Sade Sati, I got my daughter. Oh, one thing I have missed. After marriage and between my daughter, I bought my first car. So, see, my second Sade Sati was such a brilliant Sade Sati. I was looking forward to another Sade Sati. And the third Sade Sati, when it happened, first thing I was shifted from my house to Delhi, where I stayed for 3 years alone at the age of 55, 56. And you very well know Delhi is famous for its hot and cold weather, extreme cold weather.
Yes. Yes.
की सर्दी तो बहुत फेमस है. So 3 गर्मी और 3 सर्दी, 3 summers and 3 winters I have faced in Delhi. Very tough period for me. And staying alone at that age, that was mentally extremely stressful. And after my return, in the third Sade Sati, the COVID started and I lost my wife. Now you explain Sade Sati. How will you explain? I'm giving example of my personal case. Transit, same transit of Saturn on moon. The second transit yielded such beautiful results. The third transit yielded such devastating result for me. Obviously, I'm not going to get the fourth Sade Sati. So if you say that transit from moon has to be seen, you will not be able to evaluate this. Because during my second Sade Sati, I was having Jupiter Mahadasha. And during my third Sade Sati, I was having Saturn Mahadasha. Now, this changed the total color of the Sade Sati itself. Houses are the same. My Rashi is Capricorn. So Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius. These are the 3 signs involved. In first Sade Sati also, second Sade Sati also, third Sade Sati also. Planet constant, moon and Saturn. What made this qualitative difference of result?
Dasha.
Now you understand. So without, if I say which finger is important to you, index finger or ring finger, which one will I take? Which will give you less pain? What will you answer? All are equally important.
Equally important. Same pain.
Dasha and transit, they are equally important and should be and are interrelated basically. Have I been able to explain you?
Yes, yes, absolutely. It is amazing concept. See, personal example we have of Kaushik sir, which clearly demonstrate why Dasha is important while seeing transit and why transit is important while seeing Dasha. All these things clearly indicates both are complementary to each other. Now, sir, we have learned the concept of starting from basic astrology, is pseudoscience or not. Then most important concept, functional benefic, malefic, Mangal Dosh, many other which we discussed during this, I think 2 hours or more length we have covered.
You are
Now
taking
the
you are taking me a 360-degree walk-in.
so now the question which comes in my mind, how to approach a chart? How do we approach a chart? We know all concept, how to really approach a chart and how to see, how to study for, if even if we are doing a research or a study, how to.
Okay. See, in order to approach a chart, your concepts should be very clear about the basics, means the house, lords, and karaks. What the house represents? What is meant by a house? A house means your destiny in that regard. Suppose I'm talking about your asset. That's your first house.
Hmm.
That's your health. So first house will show you how is your destiny towards your health. Good, bad, ugly, whatever. Not longevity. Don't confuse it with longevity. Imagine the house has to be the store. How much destiny is stored in that storeroom for you in regard to health? And how that store will be managed will be represented by the house lord. And finally, how the circumstances will be represented by the kara. Simple. So the houses are your destinies, storehouse of destiny. Now here, if there are positive factors in the house, you can understand that your destiny, your storeroom has material. And if there are afflictions in your house, you will understand that the subject matter is in jeopardy. It's not there. Now the confusion arises when people find both in a one house.
Hmm.
A positive factor and a negative.
The negative factor.
And I have seen most of the astrologers, they balance it out.
Hmm.
+1 -1 is equal to 0. That means an average out situation. Now in astrology, this doesn't work. It works in mathematics, in arithmetic. +1 -1 is equal to 0. Correct. But in astrology, it doesn't work. In astrology, you will get the result of +1 and you will get the result of -1. Both. So when a chart comes to you, if the client is asking you about a question, if the client is asking you a question, you straight away know the event, what he is asking. You go and evaluate the concerned house first to see what is the destiny. And then subsequently analyze the house lot, Karak, blend it and predict. It's easier. I always prefer clients to come and ask me. So I know the event what he is looking for. I don't have to see 12 houses. I will zoom into the particular concerned houses and give the result. My job becomes easier. But when I'm studying a chart for academic purpose, or the client is asking me, sir, you tell me what you can see, then I'm gone. He's not asking me a specific question. Then I have to see all the 12 houses.
Yes. Tough.
Then you see which are the houses where majority of negativity has taken place. Concentrate on that first. एक दो हाउस आपको मिल जाएगा जहां में at least 2 or 3 negative factors will be evident. Because every human being's life is like that. Some events are good, some sector of life is good, some sector of life is bad. It's very hard to find a chart where all the sectors are equally good. It doesn't happen generally. So there you use your intelligence and find out which house is more affluent. And start from there. The moment you take a right entry, the client will start giving you stories. Then he himself will give you the answers. You don't have to predict. ये तो ऐसा हुआ था, sir. You know this happened, that happened, and everything will, and things will start falling in its instant.
Yes.
Don't jump to house lord and Caracas. That will be very wrong. That is what I want to say. Because destiny is finally coming from the house. To what extent the destiny will mature, that the house lord will say. If he can manage the house well, the storeroom well, even with a slight deficiency, he will manage it well. You will see some very beautifully kept flats which are small. And you go and visit a big flat, you will find it in a mess.
Yes.
The flat owner is unable to maintain it. So the house lord's job has to be then analyzed to see to what extent he will be able to maintain the house. And then finally you come to the Karaka of that event and see what circumstances will happen. Will it be positive circumstances or adverse circumstances which can lead to jeopardy of event? That's our process.
This is overall a process which we can implement.
But you have to take entry first. तो पिकअप ये कलियुग है, यहाँ में नेगेटिविटी का इम्पैक्ट ज्यादा है. That is why I said pick up the affliction page or affliction points. एक पॉजिटिव प्रेडिक्शन फ्रूटफुल होने के लिए अगर 2 महीना लगेगा, एक नेगेटिव प्रेडिक्शन फिर फ्रूटफुल होने के लिए 3 दिन लगेगा.
3 दिन लगेगा.
ये एस्ट्रोलॉजी हम लोग का एक्सपीरियंस, दिस इज आवर एक्सपीरियंस बाबा. It takes no little time for a negative prediction to get matured, but I gave a good prediction. Getting it matured will take more than expected time. Client will call me 3 times. Sir, this is not yet happened. You said this will happen. But negative. I said it will happen after 1 week. In 3 days, he will call and say, sir, it has taken place.
Yes.
So
True.
pick up
Now,
the negativities of the house and
so we enter, once we enter to the chakra view, we somewhere we will reach.
एक बार घुस जाओ फिर आप it will be easy for you to and then the client will give you.
Yeah.
He will supply you all relevant information with which you can carry forward your consultation.
So Kaushik sir, it was very detailed and how to enter a chart and how to enter the chakra view. They can also watch your lecture of Guru Purnima
Thank you.
on that. Now we have entered the chakra view and we have studied there is a problem. This house is something. This facing problem. This native is facing problem in this perspective of life. So can we literally do a little bit of alteration, change in it by performing remedies? What's your thought on remedies? What do you think? Does remedies works or not? See, gemstones works or not work? See, I want to know that does remedy have power to change our destination where we go, or is it just
Okay. Sure. I assume this will be the last question.
yes, 100%?
So my 360-degree round is will be completed.
We will complete it
Nice,
in other interviews.
nice interacting with you, Yuvang.
Same here.
I love discussing astrology and this many topics which you have asked me today is very apt and in vogue, and there are many confusions prevailing in the mind of astrologers, students. So I tried in my own way to add value to your questions and giving answers, what I have felt over the last 4 decades of dealing in the subject. Now, remedy. Yes, in all my courses, remedy is the last class.
Hmm.
Because unless you can diagnose, you cannot give medicine.
Nice.
So till now, we have discussed about all diagnosis. Now, yes, prescription. See, first, the job of an astrologer is not only to make prediction and feel proud about. See, I have made such a brilliant prediction. No, that job doesn't end there. The job of an astrologer is to also suggest ways and means to your client so that he can quantitatively and qualitatively improve his life. Immediate problem and long term, both. That's an integral part of a job of an astrologer. Now, how will you do it? Of course, you can do it only with the help of remedies. But remedies have to be understood in a very careful way. First point. Fixed destinies which you have in your chart, they are very difficult to change. That's why they are fixed. One is you don't have much liberty to play a role. At times, we know something bad is going to happen, but we can't do anything. We are mute, mere spectators. Our hands are tied. The destiny is so rigid. But there are many areas where the destiny is a little bit flexible also. And that is where, as an astrologer, your role comes. Please understand one thing. Changing destiny 100% is not within the means of any human being. You open the newspaper every day, you will find such big advertisements. Oh, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this. Baba, why he is not doing it for himself? Why he has to advertise to let others know that he is such a very big man? If you can change really 100% of a destiny, then you become God. Then instead of the image of God, I will take your photo and keep it and worship it. That will never happen.
Never.
And it will be a stupid activity on our part if we want, even if we feel that we can do it. That is in the hand of the Almighty. Then what we can do? Yes, on a case-to-case basis, 30-40% of mitigation of destiny is possible. Again, I am saying on a case-to-case basis. But if even I can mitigate 30-40% of the destiny, rather negative destiny, mitigate that. That by itself can be a huge advantage to the client. So I have answered part one of your question that remedies, yes, remedies do work, and it is our job to give remedies. Now, types of. If you follow the Vedas, you will find there are three broad type of remedies. Broad type. Vedas have very clearly said, Aushad, Mani, Mantra. यही तीन चीज यूजफुल है इंसान के. So it is medicine, money means gem therapy, and mantra. Now by gem therapy, what it is, I mean, is color therapy. Gem therapy is nothing, is color therapy. In today's scientific language, it is color. So what broad remedies we have in hand? We have medicine, we have color therapy, and by mantras we mean sound therapy. Simple. These three are the broad remedies that we. If somebody is ill, the first remedy suggested is to go to a doctor. Don't try to become a doctor by yourself, because you don't know anything of medicine. That is why Vedas have given you Ayurveda. नहीं तो फिर ज्योतिष देके ही छोड़ देते फिर. What was the need of giving Ayurveda?
Yes.
So medicine is the first level of remedy, at least for illness. Then you come to color therapy. There you have to understand, color therapy is extremely effective and useful, particularly in mitigating the weakness of a planet. That means if a planet is of less strength, you can add value there. Color therapy today is also being used by modern medicine. If you take the case of jaundice in a neonatal baby, you will see The only treatment that the doctors do in today's world is to expose that baby in an incubator with a blue light exposure. And you Google out, you will find the scientific way what chemical changes happen in the body and the cells, and how jaundice of a neonatal baby can be
Sure.
treated and cured with blue light therapy. There is no oral medicine involved.
Hmm.
So science has been able to establish how color therapy effectively can heal a patient. Now, in our subject, we have not been able to do such an extensive research to find out how color therapy really changes and what physical and chemical changes happen inside the body which goes in the advantage of a human being. But observational astrology over decades have given us to very clearly understand that in certain permutation combinations, a certain type of color therapy can be useful. And accordingly, we prescribe gemstones, which are nothing but condensed form of color. Gems are condensed form of color. So their color therapy is useful, but it has a limitation. It cannot change the functional character of a plant. Now, changing the functional character of a planet, you will have to finally take recourse to sound therapy. Because sound creates a specific vibration. It's all vibrated with you. A bomb blast takes place far away from your house, but your windows are all broken.
Hmm.
How is that happening? It's science. Whatever I am talking is only science. So mantras are nothing but specific syllables which, when pronounced, creates a desired vibration. And that vibration acts with your energy and gives you positive effect.
Hmm.
That has a potential to change the functional character of the planet. So whenever you need to change the functional character or appease the functional character of a planet, they are the only course which you have to resort to is sound therapy. Gem therapy will not be of much use over there. But if you want to increase the quantitative value of an event, so in our language, quantitative value event increase will be color therapy, and qualitative value increase will be sound therapy. And health-wise, it has to be medicine. Remember one thing, a note of caution is there, you are right.
Hmm.
Energies neither can be created nor can be destroyed. Means
True.
when you are dealing with the negativities of a client, you cannot destroy the negativity. You can only channel it to somewhere else. From your client to somewhere else. You neither can create nor can destroy.
Hmm.
And dealing with negativities, the first possible thing is, if you are not equipped or not protected, and you start channelizing that, you are the first person who is going to get affected. So, before doing remedies, you have to take specific protection so that once you start channelizing your client's negative energies, it doesn't come back and fall on you. That is why remedies should be dealt only when you are capable, confident, and protective. Prior to that, astrologers should not try to do that. That can lead to very adverse consequences.
It was amazing.
I hope I have answered this question also.
Yes, 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 absolutely. All other question. This question was absolutely amazing. Kaushik sir, thank you so much
Again,
from my side and as well as from whole Saptarishis.
pleasure
That
is all mine.
that you gave your time and we have just recorded 4 hours and 16-minute long conversation.
I didn't realize that how that much of time we have passed.
No, absolutely amazing.
So your
Thank you so much, Kaushik sir.
questions were very intelligent and very focused questions. And I hope I have been able to add some new prospect or new dimension to these questions that you have asked rather than a cut paste answer.
It was absolutely amazing, sir.
Let's hope
Thank,
if one reader is benefited out of this discussion, then I will consider our efforts to be fruitful.
yes.
Again, thank you so much for giving this opportunity, and thank you to the entire Saptarishis team and Sunil sir in particular for giving this opportunity to interact and at least give me a platform to express my views, right or wrong, whatever, that is a different question. But let different views come up so that intelligent students and readers, they can apply their wisdom and understand what is right and what is wrong. That's what I want and we all want.